Do you remember at the end of the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers when the team returned to their normal age after having been turned into children? It is stone cold how they just ditch Aisha in the past. What about Tanya? She's just a little girl, right? How unfair is it that she has to be a child in an adult's body when just one season later we see Justin get to return to normal every time he demorphs? Well, she's actually the same age as the other Rangers, and Aisha lives with her family in present time. Hi, I'm Beauty Baba Yaga, and I make videos about this plot all the time. So here's a compilation to give you all the info you could ever want. How much time do we have?
We have all the time in the world. I have nothing else to do today.
And first of all, and for those who don't know, what happens in the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers?
So the purpose of this miniseries was to explain how the Rangers go from their Mighty Morphin powers to their new Zeo powers.
In the season finale of the final season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Master Vile shows up.
He has a big square head.
I know who you're talking about.
The father of Rita Repulsa and Rita Revolta with the Orb of Doom, and literally uses it to turn the entire Earth backwards, regressing time on the whole planet by 10 years.
Turning the current Ranger team into children who can no longer morph because, like, their DNA is different or something.
The Power Rangers will become the Powerless Rangers as they are once again reduced to children.
And yes, I know that this image is from the previous episode where Lord Zed uses the Rock of Time. It's just a normal rock. It's just a normal rock. To turn the Rangers into children to do the same thing.
But we tried this once before, and it didn't work then either.
Enter the miniseries The Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, where the Power Ranger team from the planet Aquitar show up to protect Earth until the Earth Power Rangers can get their abilities back.
And then we have the conflict here, they're creating their own plot holes, where we see everyone shrink to 10 years younger in the exact same geographical location, which is weird because if you actually turn time back 10 years, they would go to where they were 10 years ago.
So this fun little effect really throws a cog in the works. But I genuinely think that's what it is. I think it's just a fun visual effect idea that they had that caused a huge plot hole.
I think this effect was done primarily to avoid a different plot hole where if they'd sent everyone to their geographical location 10 years in the past, then Tommy, Adam, Rocky, Aisha, and Kat would all be in their hometowns and not Angel Grove.
Which is a missed opportunity because having a montage of like Kat getting an airplane back to Angel Grove from Australia and Tommy like having to catch a cab, you know, he's like trying to get a ride, and then Rocky and Adam are coming from Stone Canyon, they're 10 years old and they're like, we gotta get it, we're on the bus. But Billy actually mentions that not only the people have regressed 10 years, but that the physical location has as well.
Are you sure this is the right way, Billy? I hope so. It's hard to remember so many years back. Everything looks so different.
Billy has just confirmed that they are in the Angel Grove of 10 years past because he grew up in Angel Grove, but he can't remember what the buildings were exactly like 10 years ago. So this is showing that not only the people, but the world around them has also gone back in time. Interesting side note, the Orb of Doom is only affecting Earth because time on Aquitar is the same. The Aquitarians come to Earth at their adult age, and they stay that way even when the Zeo Crystal fixes time, and they retain all of their memories.
After the Alien Rangers show up, tech genius Billy Cranston creates a machine that can turn him and his fellow Rangers back to their teenage selves so that they can fight crime again, or space monsters. However, he only gets to use this on himself before it is taken away by Rita Revolto. Then Lord Zed and Rita channel their energy through Goldar and destroy the Ninja Power Coins.
Billy and Bestro fall madly in love. It's true love.
So obviously when you have two Power Rangers teams together, a lot of times the same color from each team will pair up and have little buddy moments, which is what the Child Rangers and the Alien Rangers of Aquitar do. Which means that Billy Cranston spends a ton of time with Bestro, the Blue Ranger, which has led me to believe that they are absolutely in love. Okay, if you watch this series, Bestro's constantly saving Billy because Billy can't morph, and then Billy's constantly saving Bestro because he's running out of water, and it just has this like ridiculous romance corny vibe. And then in Zeo, Bestro shows back up to get Billy, obviously because he missed him, and takes him on a trip back to Aquitar, and eventually Billy ends up moving to Aquitar. to be with Sestria, a woman we only see once. No, she is a beard. He is moving to Aquitar to be with Sestro.
They decide the energy source powerful enough to fix the timeline discrepancy is the Zeo crystal, but they have to go find the 5 separate shards of it that are scattered throughout time and space.
Which is where we get to the Zeo Quest part of the season.
So they send the 5 remaining still children, not rangers, through some time portal to go find the 5 pieces of the Zeo crystal.
So the alien rangers and Teenage Billy just kind of shove the children into a time warp and are like, bye guys, have fun. We can't contact you while you're gone. I hope you make it back.
Every ranger goes back in time to find an ancestor, which allows them to go on a morality journey wherein they are rewarded with a Zeo crystal.
Rocky goes back to Mexico and meets his grandfather as a child. Adam goes back to North Korea where his grandmother was born and meets some random old guy. Tommy goes back to America and meets a group of Native Americans, suspiciously finding out that he's actually Native right before he becomes the Red Ranger. Kat goes to an alternate dimension and meets 2 alternate dimension versions of herself, which has nothing to do with time travel or her ancestry.
To me, her thing feels like it was created by the Zeo energy just as a test. Like, those aren't even real people. That's not even a real place. That's just a test. But clearly, Rocky is in the past because he like talks to the guy and he's like, oh, that's my grandpa's name. That must be my grandpa. And you're like, these things are so far apart.
Aisha goes to Africa, where the animals are sick, and meets Tanya, who is currently living with an old woman because her parents disappeared, and that's why this random old woman is taking care of her. I don't know if it's her grandma or just, like, the old lady in the village who, like, knows stuff.
Which is really confusing because everyone was traveling to meet their ancestors, but I don't think that anyone in the town that she goes to is related to her.
The only thing that would make even a modicum of sense is if there was an ancestor that led to the branch of the family that's in Africa and her branch of the family that's in America, but they do not explain that.
She does end up hanging out with this old woman, but I would think, given her age and that woman's age, it could at most be her grandma, and she would know if it was her grandma.
And I'm just expected to be like, oh yes, she's from Africa. I just feel like it's racist bullshit.
It's interesting, Nakia Barice celebrating Kwanzaa because she was living in Africa, but it brings up the thing that I've always wondered, like, is Nakia Barice's character from Africa?
Her parents are archaeologists and they travel a lot, which is why I think she's not actually from Africa. She just was there when they disappeared.
Because they don't really say that she has a family connection to the old woman that's taking care of her. Like, I rile against the idea that, like, well, she's an African kid because it's so...
I've tried to talk to Nakia about that as well, and she's like, look, I wasn't a writer, but she goes, my whole origin story is way out there.
I would like to think that was one of the many places that she has lived because her parents move around a lot. I mean, also, like, her lack of an accent.
Yeah, because most, like, South African descent Africans have a very strong British accent. There's still a lot of British influence in South Africa.
Aisha ends up in Africa where the animals are sick, and she decides to stay and help out with her veterinary experience and switches places with Tanya, a nice girl she meets there.
And they're like besties.
Of note, Aisha only traveled through space, not time. Everyone was already sent about a decade back in time by Master Vile.
They're currently, if the show was in 95, they're in 85. So where Aisha goes is in the same year. It's 10 years in the past in Africa.
Because when they reset time, they turn everything everywhere 10 years forward, and Tanya becomes the appropriate age in the appropriate location, and Aisha becomes the appropriate age in the appropriate location, which would be messed up if they were actually in the past. She's the same age as the other Rangers.
I have to stay here. With my knowledge of animals and my experience as a Power Ranger, I know I can help find a cure for this plague.
Aisha, your decision to remain has altered the course of your family's history, and you will find that they have joined you when the world is returned to the future.
Key things to look at here, Aisha knows she's going to retain her memories because she mentions her skills as a Power Ranger. Then Zordon says she's altered history, and when the world goes back to the future, implying the entire world's going to go back to the future, her family will be there with her. They will have been there for the last 10 years.
Which is kind of fucked up, because they're just like, I don't care about my parents or the job they wanted or the life they've established for themselves. Now they live in a different country. but I digress from the morality of that.
Once they have all 5 Zeo crystals, they use their power to correct the timeline, sending the entire Earth 10 years into the future.
Then they turn to the viewing globe to check on Aisha to make sure she's made it through the transition well.
They don't just forget that she existed. They look at her in the viewing globe and they're like, bye, Aisha, we'll miss you.
She is now the correct age, but just living in Africa. She's probably got her own freaking nature conservatory at this point.
She's a queen, and I'm sure she got this whole organization founded and did all this crazy shit. I'd love to see just a mini series about that, her accomplishments as an amazing vet.
So when Justin changes size in the turbomorph, that is the morphin grid affecting the shape of his body in order for it to fit its quote-unquote perfect form, which I put in quotes because we've never had a plus-size ranger, and I completely disagree with the fact that that's a perfect form. But I digress. That's just the morphin grid physically changing him as a ranger. But when they use the Zeo crystal to reset the timeline in the end of Alien Rangers,
she's not an 8-year-old in the body of an 18-year-old. She's actually just going back to how she was before Master Vile reversed time.
Tanya and Adam will then go on to be the first interracial couple in Power Rangers history.
And I've made a video about this before, but they do not describe that in enough detail. He is 17. Could have been done better because it's kind of creepy. She's supposed to be 18 or 17 because Zeo's a year and they all graduated at the very beginning of Turbo. She's not 8, she's 17. It's gonna be okay.
My biggest issue with this time travel plotline is that Tanya's parents were missing. However, when we go 10 years into the future, they're still missing. Okay, because she finds them in an episode of Zeo and goes and rescues them from a temple where they appear to have been trapped for 48 hours.
Unless correct the timeline meant they were with her in Angel Grove for the last 10 years and then went missing recently in 95.
Or have they been in that temple for 10 years?
Because legit, what would they be eating? And also, there are torches all over the hallway that are still lit, and those would have gone out.
So, I theorize that the plotline has created an alternate timeline in which Aisha was never a Power Ranger because she didn't have the opportunity.
And Tanya went to Canyon High with Rocky and Adam, came to Angel Grove for a ninja competition with them.
Because logically, she would have fulfilled the exact same role as Aisha, come from Stone Canyon with Rocky and Adam, and then join the Power Rangers. Which unfortunately means that Aisha was never the Yellow Ranger. It was Tanya.
She has the heart and capacity to become a Power Ranger, but she never was one.
This theory is just based on logical inferences from the information we're given in the show and is not something that is ever directly confirmed by the script.
However, since we already know that Aisha is going to be using her vet skills that she learned in a future alternate timeline that now never existed to help animals in Africa, we know that all of the Rangers retained their memories.
Inferring they will have new memories from that timeline, but I think they have their old memories as well.
Our minds have retained everything from the point of the Earth's reversal. I believe it's due to the power coins.
The only reason the Rangers remember what happened is because the power protected them.
The inference there is that they're protected by their link to the morphin grid, because even after the coins are destroyed, the Rangers retain their memories. And Aisha, going 10 years into the future as a civilian, still retains her memories. So I think all Rangers would remember that Aisha was at one point a Power Ranger. And to explain that concept a little further, here's the Master himself.
In the lost episode of Dino Thunder, the morphin grid appears to Ethan and Kira, and they put their memories into the grid. There's also been a long-running theory that when someone uses a morpher, the morphin grid instills a knowledge into them. Base fighting skills, how to operate a Megazord, how to use advanced technologies, that type of thing. And all of this is confirmed when Min's powers activate and she sees the memories of her mother.
When Aisha talks to Min about them both having been the Yellow Ranger, I think that is still totally valid. Once a Ranger, always a Ranger. She was the Yellow Ranger in an alternate timeline, and her entire team remember that, which makes it even more valid.
That's the reason Aisha is able to come back in Once and Always, because Adam remembers her.
Adam and Aisha transferred from Stone Canyon to Angel Grove together. They were high school buddies for a long time. Since only her friends remember that she was ever a Ranger, it has to be Adam that went to recruit her for SPA. I mean, she's reliable, she's trustworthy, she's powerful, she's amazing. He knows this.
It's all very complicated and convoluted, but the facts are there. Just ask me for the receipts, I could show them to you.